It was very much conceived and constructed as a complete album, Slow Attack. It was a kind of, it wasn't just, oh, let's write some songs, and, you know, almost like, for a while I kind of like flirted with the idea of kind of writing a concept album, but the word concept album makes you shiver, doesn't it, with fear, so I stopped. But, you know, okay, instead of a concept album, an album with kind of coherent themes.
Yeah, yeah. And you're thinking in terms of albums, which is something which is maybe not seen as part of the modern age anymore. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think it's terribly sad if people don't listen to albums, because it's a vital art form, and to just cherry pick songs because you've heard them on Grey's Anatomy or something like that is kind of really missing a lot of the beauty that can be had with music.
Have you thought in terms of albums for Suede's career and your
I've always thought about albums. Yeah, for me it's always been about albums, which is kind of ironic because I think for a while we were kind of seen as quite a singles band. You know, we did write quite sort of fizzy little pop songs and stuff like that, but the context of the albums has always been very, very important to me.
How about Ashes of Us? When was this written? This is also from Slow Attack.
It is, yeah. Ashes of Us was one of the earliest songs that I started this song. This was a kind of me sitting at a piano and coming up with some ideas, which were actually influenced by the classical composer Steve Reich. I kind of was listening to a lot of his stuff and people like Philip Glass and stuff like that, and really liking that sort of metronomic repetition that they have in lots of their records. There's a record by Steve Reich called Music for 18 Musicians, which I really love, and it's kind of just this pulse going all the way through that doesn't ever kind of resolve, and there's a section in Ashes of Us which we'll play, which is a kind of emulation of Steve Reich's sort of music.
I'm interested in the process of lyric writing. How do you begin to form? I mean, do you have an idea of a story in your head when you write a song, or how does it work?
Well, it's different. It was very different with Slow Attack, the way I approach songwriting. I've always kind of, you know, had a story, almost a narrative approach, even before, when it's quite a vague narrative approach. It's still been a narrative approach. With this album, I kind of wanted it to be much less narrative. I wanted the words to be almost impressionistic, to have a kind of like a sketchier feel, for them to hint at things. There's a really great quote by Francis Bacon that I always come back to, that I love, and really explains a lot of art for me. And he says that it's the job of the artist to deepen the mystery. You know, and that for me it's a really powerful thing. It's like sometimes being able to explain what a song is about or where it comes from sometimes it destroys some of the magic, even though it's interesting talking about it. You know, with something like the Ashes of Us, I don't really know where it came from. It was a song about sadness and about deaths of relationships and about all sorts of things that just sort of like filtered in and became that. And I can't really say what it's about. Maybe if we do another one of these interviews
5 years time,
I'll better tell you.
I'll give you a call and we'll find out.
Maybe my subconscious will have worked it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a really interesting thing for me. That fact, like I say, going back, bookending this whole thing.
Yeah, back to the next
sometimes
life.
I don't know what they're about.
Yeah. Because you're, as we said before, because you're in the emotion.
Yeah.
Songwriting isn't, you know, it's not the same as, it's not a cold craft, is it? It's something which involves this rather sort of unscientific aspect of human life, which we call emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's...
And that's why it's so powerful, because music's about emotion as well. You know, music isn't about kind of, you know, it's about feeling. And that's why, you know, there's a sort of cliche about sort of song lyrics being so dreadful, and if you take them away from, you know, take pop lyrics away from the music, aren't they laughable and aren't they childish? And yes, they are, but when they're combined with a great melody and a great rhythm and a great guitar riff, they're the most powerful things in the world. They really are.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Cheers.